Far beyond the orbit of Pluto, where sunlight was weak and space felt endless, something unusual appeared. At first, it was just a small signal. Outpost Echo, a lonely human station floating in deep space, was the only one close enough to notice. The station had one purpose: to watch the darkness and report anything strange. Most days were silent. Nothing moved. Nothing changed. Officer Liam sat alone in the control room, bored and tired. His eyes moved slowly across the screens. Lines, numbers, and distant stars filled his view. Then a soft beep broke the silence. Liam looked up quickly. A small blinking appeared on the far edge of the scanner. He frowned. "That's new," he said quietly. He leaned forward and adjusted the controls. The system zoomed in, trying to identify the signal. At first, it looked like background noise. But it did not fade away. Instead, it grew stronger. Liam's fingers moved faster now. He activated deeper scan modes. The screen flickered. Then more dots appeared. 1, 5, 10, then dozens. Liam's breath slowed as he stared at the display. "No, this can't be right," he whispered. He ran the scan again. The same result, but clearer. Shapes began to form. Large shapes, moving together. In formation. Liam stood up suddenly, his chair sliding behind him. "This is Echo Station," he said into the communicator. "I am detecting multiple unknown objects beyond Pluto. Requesting confirmation." A voice answered after a short pause. "Echo Station, confirm if objects are natural." Liam shook his head as he studied the data. "Negative. These are controlled movements. Objects are maintaining formation. They are ships." Silence filled the channel. Then the voice returned, more serious this time. "Send all data immediately." "Yes, sending now." Liam transferred everything. As the data moved across the network, he zoomed in further. Now he could see them clearly. Huge ships. Long, dark, and sharp. There were hundreds of them, and they were all moving in the same direction. Toward Earth. On Earth, deep underground, a hidden command center came alive. Large screens lit up. Officers rushed to their positions. The quiet room turned into controlled chaos. General Arjun entered with calm steps. His face showed no fear, only focus. "Report," he said. An officer stood straight. "Sir, Outpost Echo confirms a large fleet beyond Pluto. Estimated number is over 300 ships." Arjun looked at the main screen. The fleet appeared as a moving wave in space. "Speed?" he asked. "Hi, sir. They will reach Mars orbit in a few days." Commander Leo stepped closer. "No communication signals?" he asked. "None," the officer replied. "They're not hiding either." Arjun crossed his arms. "They are confident," he said. Leo nodded slightly. "Or careless." The room grew quiet again. Everyone understood the situation. This was not a peaceful visit. This was an attack. Above the surface of Earth, life continued as normal. People walked through busy streets. Children played. Lights filled the cities at night. No one knew what was coming. The truth was hidden deep underground. Back in the command center, plans were already moving forward. "Activate deep tracking systems," Arjun ordered. "I want constant updates." "Yes, sir." "Prepare early defense systems, but keep them offline for now," he added. Leo looked at him. "You think it's time?" he asked. Arjun's eyes stayed on the screen. "Yes," he said quietly. "We knew this day would come." Leo gave a small nod. For years, humanity had prepared in secret. Now that preparation would be tested. Far beyond Pluto, inside one of the alien ships, everything was calm. The control room was large and filled with strange glowing symbols. Tall figures stood near the panels, watching the path ahead. One of them spoke. "Target confirmed. Planet Earth." Another figure responded. "Defensive capability." "Minimal," came the answer. "Primitive technology detected." A short pause followed. Then a final command was given. "Continue advance." The fleet moved forward without slowing down. They did not expect resistance. They did not expect to fight. Back at Outpost Echo, Liam sat quietly, watching the screen. The fleet was getting closer. Much closer. He felt a strange fear in his chest. Not just fear of the unknown, but fear of what would happen next. He looked out of the small window beside him. The stars were still, calm, and silent. But now, that silence felt different. Heavy. Dangerous. He turned back to the screen one more time. Hundreds of alien ships moved like a storm through space, heading straight for his home. For Earth. Liam took a deep breath and whispered to himself, "They're coming." But what the alien fleet did not know was that Earth was not unprepared. Humanity had been watching, waiting, and very soon, it would act. Deep under the surface of Earth, far below any city or map, the command center remained active. Large screens showed the alien fleet moving closer every hour. Red markers blinked slowly as the system tracked each ship. The room was quiet, but the tension was heavy. General Arjun stood at the center, watching everything. Commander Leo walked in with a data pad in his hand. "They have not changed speed," Leo said. "Still moving straight toward the inner system." Arjun nodded. "They are confident," he replied. "They think we are weak." Leo gave a small, serious smile. "They are about to learn otherwise." For years, humanity had prepared for this exact moment. Long before the alien fleet appeared, scientists and military leaders had agreed on one idea. If aliens ever came, they would not come in peace. So Earth began to prepare. Quietly, secretly. Not on Earth, but in space. Near Mars, hidden in the shadows of its orbit, something massive began to wake. A large defense platform, invisible to normal scanners, powered on slowly. Its surface was covered in dust and dark panels, designed to hide it from sight. Inside, systems came to life one by one. Lights turned on. Engines hummed softly. Weapons unlocked. An artificial voice echoed through the station. Defense Platform A1 online. In the asteroid belt, dozens of small objects floated silently. To any outsider, they looked like normal rocks. But they were not. Inside each one was a hidden weapon system. Missile launchers, drone carriers, energy cannons. One by one they activated. Unit B12 ready. Unit B27 ready. Unit B43 ready. The empty space between Mars and Jupiter was no longer empty. It was a trap. Back on Earth, the command center continued its work. Arjun turned to a group of officers. "Status of Mars line?" he asked. One officer answered quickly. "All platforms are activating, sir. Full readiness in 2 hours." "Good," Arjun said. Leo stepped forward. "What about Phase 1?" he asked. Arjun paused for a moment. Then he spoke clearly. "Prepare it." The officer nodded. "Yes, sir." Above Earth, hidden satellites began to move. They changed position slowly, carefully, so no one could detect them. These were not normal satellites. They carried advanced sensors and long-range weapons. They formed a wide network around the planet. A silent shield. Inside one of the control rooms, a young technician looked nervous. "Sir," he said, "should we send a warning to the alien fleet?" The room went quiet. Leo looked at Arjun. Arjun thought for a moment. Then he shook his head. "No," he said. The technician looked surprised. "No warning?" he asked. Arjun's voice was calm but firm. "If they came this far with a fleet like that," he said, "they already made their decision." Leo added quietly, "This is not first contact. This is war." The technician nodded slowly and returned to his station. Hours passed. The alien fleet moved closer. Now, even long-range civilian telescopes could have seen something, but the information was blocked. On Earth, people still lived normally. They had no idea that a battle was coming. Far away, near Mars, the hidden platforms were now fully active. Massive railguns turned slowly, aiming into deep space. Missile bays opened. Drone units waited silently. Everything was ready, waiting for a single command. Back in the command center, Leo looked at the main screen. "They will reach the Mars line soon," he said. Arjun nodded. "Then we stop them there." Leo crossed his arms. "Do you think any of them will survive?" Arjun looked at the moving red markers. His answer was simple. "No." At Outpost Echo, Liam continued to watch. The alien fleet was no longer distant.
It was closer now.
Too close. He received an update from Earth Command. Maintain observation. Do not engage. Liam read the message twice. Do not engage, he said softly. He looked back at the fleet. There were so many ships. Too many. How can we not engage, he whispered. But deep down, he knew something. Earth was not afraid. It was waiting. Inside the alien flagship, the mood was calm. The fleet continued forward without any change. Approaching inner system, one officer said. Any response from target planet? Another asked. None detected. The commander stood tall. Primitive species, he said. They do not even know what is coming. The others agreed. To them, this mission was simple.
Easy. Certain.
Back on Earth, General Arjun gave a final order. All units hold position. The room became completely silent. Every screen showed the same thing. The alien fleet. Moving closer. Closer to Mars. Closer to the trap. Leo looked at Arjun one last time.
This is it, he said.
Arjun nodded. Yes, he replied. Then he looked at the screen and spoke softly. Let them come. In the cold darkness of space, the alien fleet moved forward without fear. They believed they were the hunters. They believed Earth was the prey. But they were wrong. They were flying straight into something they could not see. A hidden defense. A silent wall. A storm waiting to strike. And very soon, the silence would end. The alien fleet moved through space like a dark ocean. Hundreds of massive ships traveled together in perfect formation. Their engines glowed with a cold blue light, leaving faint trails behind them. The stars around them seemed small compared to their size. They were not hiding. They were not afraid. To them, this mission was already a victory. Inside the largest ship, the flagship, everything was calm and controlled. The command hall was wide and filled with glowing panels. Strange symbols moved across the screens, showing maps, signals, and the path ahead. Tall alien figures stood in silence, focused on their work. At the center stood the fleet commander. His name was Varn. He looked at the main display, where a small blue dot marked their target.
Earth.
Distance. Varn asked. One of the officers answered immediately. Closing fast. We will reach the inner system soon. Varn nodded. Any activity from the target planet? The officer checked again. Minimal, he said. No fleet movement. No defensive signals. No advanced weapons detected. A few officers exchanged looks. One of them spoke carefully. Commander, should we be cautious? Unknown species can be unpredictable. Varn turned slowly. His voice was calm, but firm. We have studied them, he said. Their signals, their machines, their history. They are divided.
Weak.
Still fighting among themselves. He paused. They are not ready for us. The officer lowered his head. Yes, Commander. On another ship, lower-ranked officers discussed the mission. They say this planet has billions of life forms, one said. Numbers do not matter, another replied. They lack power. Their weapons cannot reach us. They have satellites. A third one added. Primitive, came the answer. Easy to destroy.
They all seemed relaxed.
Some even confident. To them, Earth was not a threat. It was a resource. Back on the flagship, new data appeared on the screens. Commander, an officer said, we are detecting small objects near the outer system. Varn stepped closer. Natural? Possibly, the officer replied. Asteroids, debris. No active signals. Varn looked at the display. Small dots floated far away from the fleet's path. He did not see danger. Ignore them, he said. Maintain course. Yes, Commander. The fleet continued forward. Far away, hidden in the asteroid belt, those small objects were not natural. Inside them, systems were active, silent, watching, waiting. Every movement of the alien fleet was being tracked. Every position recorded. But no signals were sent. No warnings given. Only silence. Back on Earth, the command center remained focused. Commander Leo studied the incoming data. They are not slowing down, he said. General Arjun stood beside him. They won't, Arjun replied. They believe they have already won. Leo looked at the screen. Arrogance, he said. Arjun nodded.
Yes.
And that will cost them. An officer approached quickly. Sir, alien fleet entering Phase Zone 1. They are approaching Mars line. Arjun took a deep breath. Status of all platforms? All units ready, the officer replied. Weapons locked. Waiting for command. Leo looked at Arjun. We can still send a message, he said quietly. A final warning. Arjun did not answer immediately. He looked at the screen again. Hundreds of enemy ships. Moving closer. Closer to Mars. Closer to the trap. No, Arjun said at last. Leo understood. There will be no warning, he said. Arjun shook his head. They came with warships, he said. They made their choice. Back in space, the alien fleet continued its advance. Commander, an officer reported, we are nearing a red planet, likely one of the system's outer worlds. Mars, another officer said after checking data. A small, lifeless planet. Varn looked at the image. A cold, red world. Nothing special. Nothing important. Any defenses? He asked. None detected, came the reply. Varn gave a slight nod. Continue forward. Unknown to them, Mars was no longer empty. Hidden in its orbit, deep in shadow, massive human defense platforms waited. Weapons aimed. Systems ready. Silent as space itself. At Outpost Echo, Liam watched everything. The fleet had passed his position. Now it was heading deeper into the system. Toward Mars. Toward Earth. He received another update from command. Continue observation. Stand by. Liam looked at the message, confused. Stand by, he said. He expected panic. He expected fear. But there was none. Instead, there was control. Confidence. Liam looked back at the screen. The alien fleet looked unstoppable. But something about Earth's response felt different. Too calm. Too prepared. Inside the alien flagship, Varn stood with his hands behind his back. Soon, he said, looking at Earth's position on the map. Soon the system will belong to us. The officers around him agreed. Victory felt certain.
Easy. Close.
But far ahead of them, hidden near Mars, something waited. A silent wall of steel and fire. A defense built in secret. A trap they could not see. And as the fleet moved closer, the distance between confidence and destruction grew smaller. Very soon, they would learn the truth. They were not the hunters. They were the ones being hunted. The alien fleet moved closer to Mars. The red planet grew larger on their screens, a quiet world covered in dust and storms. To the alien commanders, it looked lifeless and unimportant. Just another object in space. But they were wrong. Inside the alien flagship, Commander Varn stood calmly as the fleet advanced. Status, he asked. An officer responded. All ships are in formation. No resistance detected. Scanners? Varn asked. Clear, the officer replied. No active weapons. No fleets. No signals. Varn nodded with satisfaction. As expected, he said. They are unaware. The officers around him agreed. To them, this was not a battle.
It was a march.
But hidden in the darkness around Mars, human defenses were already active. Massive platforms floated silently in orbit, their surfaces dark and cold. They showed no lights, no signals, nothing that could be detected. Inside one of these platforms, systems worked quietly. Targeting systems tracked every alien ship. Weapon systems aligned perfectly. Artificial intelligence calculated angles, timing, and impact points. Every movement of the alien fleet was known. But no attack came. Not yet. Back on Earth, deep inside the command center, the atmosphere was tense. Large screens showed the fleet now very close to Mars. Red markers filled the display. General Arjun stood still, watching. Commander Leo stood beside him. They're entering the kill zone, Leo said quietly. Arjun did not look away from screen. All units, he asked. Ready, an officer replied. Every platform is locked and tracking. Leo crossed his arms. This is the moment, he said. Arjun nodded slowly. Yes, he said. But we wait. Across the solar system, hidden sensors continued their silent work. Small satellites, invisible to alien scans, followed the fleet's movement. They sent data back to Earth in secure channels. Everything was connected. Everything was controlled. Humanity had built a system that saw everything and revealed nothing. Inside the alien fleet, there was still no sign of danger. "Commander," an officer said, "we are now passing near the red planet." Varn glanced at the screen. Mars rotated slowly, its surface quiet and empty. "Still no defenses?" he asked. "None detected," the officer replied. Another officer added, "We are picking up minor signals, but they appear inactive. Possibly abandoned systems." Varn showed no concern.
Primitive technology, he said.
"Irrelevant." He turned away. "Maintain course." At that exact moment, dozens of hidden human platforms were watching him, listening, waiting. Inside one of the Mars defense stations, a digital voice spoke softly. "Enemy fleet fully inside engagement range." The system paused, awaiting command. Back on Earth, the command center fell into complete silence. Every officer watched the screens. No one moved. No one spoke. General Arjun looked at the timer counting down. The fleet was perfectly positioned. Every ship inside the trap. Commander Leo looked at him. "Now," he asked quietly. Arjun did not answer immediately. He took a slow breath. Then he spoke. "Not yet." Leo raised an eyebrow. "We risk losing advantage if we wait too long," he said. Arjun nodded. "I know," he replied. "But this must be perfect." In space, the alien fleet continued forward, unaware. They passed deeper into Mars' orbit, closer to the hidden platforms, closer to the weapons aimed directly at them. Still, their scanners showed nothing. Still, their systems detected no threat. Inside the flagship, one officer suddenly looked confused. "Commander," he said, "we are detecting unusual gravitational readings." Varn turned slightly. "Explain." "They are small fluctuations," the officer said. "Possibly natural." Another officer checked. "No confirmed threat," he added. "Readings are inconsistent." Varn thought for a moment. Then he dismissed it. "Space is unpredictable," he said. "Ignore it." "Yes, Commander." What they did not understand was simple. Those fluctuations were not natural. They were the hidden systems adjusting position, preparing, aiming. Back on Earth, the countdown reached its final moments. General Arjun looked at the screen one last time. Hundreds of enemy ships, all within range. No escape. Commander Leo spoke again. "This is the best chance we will ever get." Arjun nodded. "Yes." He stepped forward.
His voice was calm, clear.
"Final. All units, prepare to engage." Across the solar system, every hidden platform responded. Weapons powered to full. Targets locked.
Systems ready.
In the cold darkness near Mars, silence filled space. No sound. No movement. Just stillness. A stillness before something massive. Inside the alien fleet, everything felt normal. Ships moved forward. Officers worked calmly. Commander Varn stood with confidence. Victory felt close.
Certain. Easy.
Then, without warning, every hidden human weapon aligned at once. Every system reached full power. Every calculation completed. Back on Earth, General Arjun gave the final order. Fire. And, in that single moment, the silence of space was about to be shattered. The order had been given. Across the silent darkness near Mars, human weapons came alive. For a brief moment, nothing changed. Then, light exploded across space. From the hidden platforms around Mars, massive railguns fired at once. Long lines of bright energy cut through the darkness as thousands of metal projectiles launched forward at extreme speed. There was no warning, no signal, no sound, only destruction moving faster than the eye could see. Inside the alien fleet, everything changed in a single second. "Commander," an officer shouted. "Multiple high-speed objects detected." Varn turned sharply. "What?" He never finished his sentence. The first impact hit. One of the frontline ships was torn apart instantly. A projectile passed straight through its center, breaking it into pieces. The explosion lit up the darkness, like a sudden star. Then another ship exploded. Then another. And another. Panic spread across the fleet. Shields up. Evasive maneuvers. Unknown weapons detected. The calm order of the fleet collapsed into chaos. Ships tried to turn, but it was too late. The projectiles were too fast. Too accurate. Too many. Back on Earth, the command center watched everything. Red markers on the screen began to disappear one by one. Commander Leo spoke quickly. Direct hits confirmed. Multiple enemy losses. General Arjun remained calm. Continue firing, he said. Near Mars, the hidden platforms did not stop. They fired again. And again. Each shot calculated perfectly. Each target chosen carefully. No wasted movement. No missed shots. Inside the alien flagship, alarms screamed loudly. Shields failing on outer ships. We are taking heavy losses. Source of attack unknown. Varn grabbed the command rail tightly. Find the source, he ordered. We are scanning, an officer replied. But there are no visible ships. Another explosion shook the fleet. A large cruiser split into two pieces, its power core exploding seconds later. The light blinded nearby ships. They are firing from invisible positions, one officer shouted. That is not possible, another replied. But it was happening, right in front of them. Back near Mars, more weapons activated. Missile bays opened. Hundreds of missiles launched in waves, spreading out like a swarm. Each one locked onto a different target. Each one guided by advanced systems. They moved fast. Too fast. Inside the alien fleet, confusion turned into fear. Missiles incoming. Too many targets. Defensive systems overloaded. Explosions filled the space between ships. Fire and debris spread in all directions. Some ships collided with each other while trying to escape. Formation was completely lost. Varn looked at the destruction around him. This was not supposed to happen. This was supposed to be easy. Regroup, he shouted. All ships, form defensive positions. But his voice struggled to reach everyone. Communication systems were damaged. Signals were blocked. Nothing was working as planned. Back on Earth, Leo watched the data carefully. They are breaking formation, he said. Arjun nodded.
Good.
That makes them weaker. An officer spoke up. Enemy attempting to respond, sir. Energy, weapons charging. Arjun gave a short reply. Too late. At that moment, another wave of railgun fire launched. This time, it was even stronger, even more precise. The projectiles cut through multiple ships in a single line, destroying them one after another. A chain of explosions followed. Inside the alien fleet, panic grew worse. We cannot see them. We cannot stop them. Our shields are failing. Ships continued to fall. Large battleships, once powerful and feared, were destroyed in seconds. Nothing could protect them. Near the battlefield, hidden drone units activated. Hundreds of small drones rushed forward, moving quickly between the damaged ships. They targeted weak points. Engines, weapons, control systems. Each attack made the situation worse for the aliens. Back at Outpost Echo, Liam watched in shock. The screen was filled with explosions. He could hardly believe what he was seeing. So fast, he whispered. The alien fleet, which had looked unstoppable before, was now falling apart. Inside the flagship, Varn struggled to regain control. All ships, retreat from current position, he ordered. But even that command came too late. More missiles hit. More ships exploded. The fleet was trapped. Back on Earth, the command center remained steady. Leo looked at Arjun. They're trying to retreat, he said. Arjun shook his head. They cannot. Leo understood. They are already inside the trap. Near Mars, the hidden platforms continued their attack without pause. They showed no emotion, no hesitation, only perfect execution. In space, the alien fleet burned. Ships broke apart. Fire spread through the darkness. Debris floated in every direction. The once powerful armada was now in chaos. And this was only the beginning. Humanity had not used its full power yet. Not even close. The first strike had landed, and it had shattered the enemy. But the battle was far from over. For the alien fleet, this was the moment they realized the truth. They were not facing a weak planet. They were facing something far more dangerous. Something prepared. Something deadly. Something that did not plan to lose. The battle near Mars had fully begun. What started as a sudden attack had now turned into complete chaos. The alien fleet, once moving in perfect order, was now scattered across space. Ships spun out of control. Some crashed into each other. Others drifted, damaged and burning. Explosions lit up the darkness again and again. Inside the alien flagship, alarms screamed without stopping. Shields collapsing on multiple sectors. Engines offline on forward units. Command links are failing. Voices overlapped. No one waited their turn anymore. Commander Varn stood at the center, trying to stay calm, but his face showed tension for the first time. "This is not possible," he said under his breath. He looked at the main display. Dozens of ships were gone. Just gone. Destroyed in seconds. "Commander," one officer shouted. "We must pull back. We are taking heavy losses." Another officer quickly added, "We still cannot detect the enemy positions." Varn slammed his hand onto the control panel. "Then find them," he ordered. "We are trying," came the reply. "Their signals are hidden. Their weapons appear from nowhere." Outside, more human attacks hit the fleet. Missiles exploded across multiple ships. Railgun rounds passed through armor like it was nothing. Drone units continued their precise strikes. The alien fleet was under attack from all directions, but they could not see their enemy. Back on Earth, the command center remained steady and focused. Large screens showed real-time updates. Red enemy markers were decreasing fast. Commander Leo studied the data carefully. "They are losing control," he said. General Arjun nodded. "Expected," he replied. "Next phase?" Leo asked. Arjun looked at the screen. "Continue pressure," he said. "Do not give them time to recover." Near Mars, the hidden platforms adjusted their positions slightly. New targets were selected. Weapons recalculated firing angles. Then, another wave of attacks launched. Inside the alien fleet, some ships tried to fight back. "Targeting unknown source," one officer shouted. "Fire all forward weapons." Large energy beams shot out into empty space. They hit nothing. There was nothing to hit. The real enemy remained invisible. "This makes no sense," an officer yelled. "We are firing blindly." Another ship attempted to lock onto a drone. Target acquired. Before it could fire, a missile struck its weapon system. The ship exploded seconds later. Varn watched everything unfold. This was not a battle. This was a disaster. "Regroup the fleet," he ordered again. "Form defensive circle." But the fleet was too damaged. Too scattered. Ships could not move into position fast enough. Some could not move at all. Back at Outpost Echo, Liam stared at the battle in shock. The once powerful alien fleet looked broken. He watched as ship after ship exploded. "How?" he whispered. He had expected a long war. A difficult fight. But this was something else. This was one-sided. Inside one of the alien ships, panic spread among the crew. "We are losing power. Hull breach in multiple areas. We need support." But no help came. There was no safe place. No direction without danger. Back on Earth, one officer spoke quickly. "Sir, enemy attempting coordinated counterattack." Leo looked up. "Details?" "They are trying to push forward toward Mars at full speed, possibly to break through." Arjun's expression did not change. "Let them try," he said. Leo gave a slight nod. "They will only move deeper into range." Near Mars, the human defense system responded instantly. As alien ships pushed forward, they entered even stronger firing zones. More platforms activated. More weapons came online. Another wave of railgun fire launched. This time it was devastating. Multiple ships were hit at once. Some were destroyed instantly. Others broke apart slowly, their systems failing one by one. Inside the flagship, the situation was getting worse. "Commander," an officer shouted. "We are surrounded." Varn looked at the display. It was true. Attacks were coming from every direction. Front, back, sides. There was no clear escape path. How is this possible? He said quietly. They were not supposed to have this level of power. But now it was clear. They had been wrong. Very wrong. Back in the command center, Leo watched the battle closely. They are collapsing, he said. Arjun nodded. Yes. An officer added, enemy losses now above 50%. Leo looked at Arjun. They won't last much longer. Arjun remained calm. Do not underestimate them, he said. A cornered enemy can still be dangerous. In space, the alien fleet was no longer an organized force. It was a battlefield of fire and debris. Ships burned. Weapons failed. Commands were lost. And still, the human attacks did not stop. Not for a second. Inside the flagship, Varn took a slow breath. He understood the truth now. This was not a simple mission. This was not an easy victory. They had flown into something far more powerful than expected. Something prepared. Something that had been waiting. We were wrong, one officer said quietly. Varn did not respond. He kept watching the destruction. Far ahead, Mars remained silent.
Calm. Unchanged.
As if nothing was happening. But around it, the alien fleet was being destroyed.
Piece by piece.
And this was only the middle of the battle. Humanity still had more to show. More weapons. More strategy. More power. For the alien fleet, this was the moment fear truly began. And for humanity, this was just another step toward victory. The battlefield near Mars was no longer a battle. It was destruction in slow motion. Burning ships drifted through space. Broken metal spun in silence. Explosions still flashed in the distance, but they were fewer now. The alien fleet had lost most of its strength. Only scattered groups remained. And at the center of it all, the human defense system was still active. Inside the alien flagship, Commander Varn stood in silence. His once confident posture was gone. Now he looked tired, but his eyes were still sharp. Around him, officers worked with panic in their movements. Commander, we have less than 30% fleet remaining, one officer said. Another added quickly, communication systems are barely working. Many ships are silent. Varn did not respond immediately. He stared at the main display. Red markers, his fleet, were disappearing one by one. This should not be happening, Varn said quietly. No one answered. There was nothing left to say. Back on Earth, the command center was fully focused. The room was silent except for data updates and soft system sounds. Commander Leo watched the screen carefully. They are collapsing, he said. General Arjun stood still, arms crossed. Yes, he replied. Now we finish it. An officer stepped forward. Sir, Phase 3 is ready for activation. Arjun looked at the screen. The alien fleet was now spread thin across Mars' orbit. No formation. No structure. Just survival. He nodded. Begin Phase 3. Across the solar system, hidden systems responded instantly. Deep space platforms shifted into final positions. Massive energy cores began to glow. Weapons that had stayed silent until now powered up. This was the final stage. Near Mars, the alien fleet suddenly detected a change. Commander, an officer shouted. New energy readings detected. Varn stepped forward. What kind of readings? Before the officer could answer, space itself changed. From hidden platforms far away, powerful energy beams fired. Not railguns. Not missiles. Something far stronger. Pure energy weapons. They cut through space like invisible blades. Inside the alien fleet, panic returned instantly. Energy weapons incoming. Too many signatures. Evasive maneuvers, now. But there was no time left. The first beam hit a damaged cruiser. It did not explode. It disappeared. Completely. The ship vanished into light and heat, leaving nothing behind. Another beam struck a second ship. Then another. And another. Entire sections of the fleet were erased from existence. Varn watched in shock. This is not normal weaponry, he said. An officer shouted. Commander, they are erasing ships instantly. Another added. Shields are useless. Back on Earth, Leo spoke quietly. This is the final air, he said. Arjun nodded. Clean execution, he replied. Leo looked at him. No survivors. Arjun's voice was calm. No survivors. Near Mars, the alien fleet tried one last desperate move. Full retreat. Varn ordered. Pull everything back. But the system was already collapsing. Ships tried to turn. Some engines failed. Others were already targeted. Energy beams continued to fire. Precise.
Fast.
Unstoppable. One alien battleship, the largest remaining, attempted to block the attacks by moving forward. It accelerated toward the source of the energy. Ram the enemy position, its captain shouted. But there was nothing to ram. No visible enemy. No target to strike. Instead, a beam hit it directly. The massive ship froze for a second. Then it disappeared in a silent flash. Inside the flagship, silence fell. Varn looked at the empty space where his fleet once existed. Now only fragments remained. A broken armada. A failed mission. We underestimated them, one officer said quietly. No one argued. It was the truth. Back on Earth, Leo watched the final data updates. Enemy fleet below 10%, he reported. Arjun nodded. Finish it. The remaining hidden platforms activated their last coordinated strike. All systems locked onto remaining targets. Every surviving alien ship was marked. Then, all weapons fired together. In space, the final wave began. Beams of light crossed Mars' orbit in perfect synchronization. Every target was hit. Every ship destroyed. One by one, the red markers on Earth's screens disappeared. Inside the alien flagship, Varn stood still. There was no anger now. No fear. Only realization. This was never a fair fight, he said quietly. Then the flagship was hit. A massive beam struck its core. The ship did not explode loudly. It simply vanished into light. And then, silence. Near Mars, the battlefield was empty. No movement. No signals. No surviving ships. Only debris floating slowly in space. Back on Earth, the command center remained quiet. No cheers. No celebration. Just silence. General Arjun looked at the screen one last time. It is done, he said. Commander, Leo nodded.
Yes.
It never reached Mars. Far away, Outpost Echo recorded the final readings. Officer Liam watched the empty space where the fleet had been. It was gone. Completely gone. He leaned back slowly. They never stood a chance, he whispered. And in the darkness of space, Mars continued its silent orbit. Unchanged. Watching. As if nothing had ever happened. But humanity knew the truth now. When Earth was threatened, it did not defend. It erased the threat. After the final strike, space near Mars became completely silent. No explosions remained. No energy beams. No moving ships. Only broken fragments of metal drifted slowly, turning in the dark like ashes after a fire. The alien fleet was gone. Not defeated. Not escaping.
Gone.
Inside the Earth Command Center, no one spoke for several seconds. Every screen showed the same result. 0 enemy ships remaining. General Arjun stood still, watching the data confirm the end of the battle. Commander Leo finally broke the silence. It's over, he said quietly. Arjun nodded once.
Yes.
It is. An officer nearby checked the final reports. Sir, all hostile signatures have disappeared. No life signals detected. No remaining energy sources. Another officer added softly. Mars' orbit is clear. The room remained silent again. There was no celebration. Only understanding. Back in space, the battlefield was unrecognizable. What once was a powerful alien armada was now just scattered debris. Pieces of ships floated in every direction. Some still glowed faintly, cooling down in the cold darkness. But nothing moved. Nothing responded. Far away, at Outpost Echo, Officer Liam stared at the empty screen. Hours earlier, it had shown hundreds of enemy ships. Now it showed nothing. Just empty space. He whispered, "They're really gone." He checked the system again and again, as if expecting something to return. But nothing did. On Earth, the command center began shutting down emergency protocols. Slowly, Systems returned to normal monitoring mode. But the tension did not disappear, because everyone knew something important. This was not the end of danger. It was only the end of the first wave. General Arjun walked closer to the main screen. Mars rotated quietly in the background.
Calm. Red. Unchanged. He spoke softly.
They never reached it. Commander Leo stood beside him. No, he said. We stopped them before they even understood what hit them. An officer hesitated before speaking. Sir, what do we report to the public? The room became quiet again. Arjun thought for a moment. Nothing yet, he said. The officer looked confused. Nothing. Arjun nodded. This was only one fleet. We don't know if there are more. Leo added, if we tell the world now, we create panic. Arjun finished the thought. And panic helps no one. Outside, Earth continued its normal life. Cities were still bright. People were still moving. The sky looked peaceful. No one knew that something massive had just tried to invade their solar system, and failed completely. Back near Mars, human defense platforms began to power down slowly. Not shutting off, just returning to silent standby. Weapons cooled. Systems reset. Everything went back to waiting. Because that was their purpose. Not just to fight, but to wait for the next threat. Inside one of the hidden stations, a final system report appeared. Sector cleared. Enemy eliminated. No remaining contacts. A soft confirmation tone followed. Then silence. At Outpost Echo, Liam sent his final report to Earth Command. Fleet destroyed. No survivors detected. Area secure. He paused before adding one line. They never even reached Mars orbit. He leaned back in his chair, exhausted. The empty space outside his window felt different now. Not peaceful. Not dangerous. Just empty. On Earth, Leo looked at Arjun. So what now? He asked. Arjun did not answer immediately. He watched Mars on the screen. Then he spoke. We prepare. Leo understood. For another attack? He asked. Arjun shook his head slightly. For anything. A young officer spoke quietly. Sir, do you think they will come again? No one answered immediately, because no one knew. But Arjun finally said, if they came once, they can come again. He turned toward the room. And next time, they may not come alone. The room fell silent again. Everyone understood the meaning. This was not a victory celebration. It was a warning. A warning that the universe was bigger than expected. And not everything would be as easy as this battle. Back in space, the debris continued to drift. Pieces of ships that once crossed galaxies now floated lifelessly around Mars. The planet itself remained untouched, unaware, unchanged. And far beyond, the rest of the solar system stayed quiet. But deep inside Earth's hidden systems, something remained active. Sensors. Weapons. Eyes watching the darkness. Always ready. Because humanity had learned something important. It did not wait for war to arrive at Earth anymore. It stopped it far away, before it could ever come close. And near Mars, where a powerful alien fleet once moved with confidence, now there was only silence. A silence that spoke louder than any victory speech. The battlefield near Mars was silent, but Earth was not relaxed. Inside the underground command center, screens still glowed with data. Even though the alien fleet was destroyed, no one felt safe yet. General Arjun stood in front of the main display, watching the empty space where the enemy had been. Commander Leo stood beside him. It is hard to believe it is really over, Leo said quietly. Arjun replied, it is over for now. The room remained alert. Officers were still checking long-range sensors. Some were scanning beyond Mars, others deeper into the solar system. No one trusted silence anymore, because silence had almost brought destruction. An officer approached quickly. Sir, final scan complete. No remaining alien signals detected in the inner system. Another officer added, outer system also clear. Leo nodded slowly. So the fleet was alone, he said. Arjun did not answer immediately. He was thinking. Back in space, the debris of the alien fleet continued to drift. Broken ships floated like dead giants. Some still had faint energy sparks, but nothing active remained. The once powerful armada had become space junk. At Outpost Echo, Liam kept watching the empty region. He zoomed in and out of the scanner, as if expecting something hidden. But there was nothing. Only darkness. He leaned forward and spoke into the recorder. Target destroyed. Mars orbit secured. No remaining threats. Then he paused. His voice became lower. But I don't think this is the end. On Earth, Leo turned to Arjun. What do we tell the world now? He asked again. This time, Arjun gave a slow answer. Now we speak. The command center activated a secure global broadcast channel. It was not public yet. First, it was sent to world leaders. Then military networks. Then science stations. A recorded message began to play. General Arjun stood in front of the camera. His face was calm, but serious. This is a message to all Earth command networks, he said. A hostile alien fleet entered our solar system and was destroyed near Mars orbit. He paused. There are no survivors. Across military bases around the world, officers watched in silence. Many could not believe what they were hearing. Alien fleet. Destroyed. Near Mars. Arjun continued. This was not a random encounter. This was an invasion attempt. We stopped it before it reached Earth. In the command center, Leo watched the recording play. He knew what would happen next. Shock. Questions. Fear. Arjun's voice continued. We are not safe because we are strong. We are safe because we were prepared. But this event proves something important. He paused again. The universe is not empty. There are others out there. Back in the room, silence deepened. Even the officers who had just fought the battle felt it again. That feeling. Not victory. Not relief. But awareness. Arjun's message continued. We do not know how many more fleets exist. We do not know if this was a test or the beginning. Leo looked at the screen. He whispered, he is telling them the truth. Arjun nodded slightly. It is better they know now than later. The message ended with one final statement. If Earth is threatened again, we will respond the same way. Without hesitation, the broadcast ended. The room stayed silent for a moment. Then systems returned to monitoring mode. At Outpost Echo, Liam listened to the recorded message. He looked out into space again. It was only one fleet, he said quietly, but it felt like a war. Back on Earth, cities slowly began to receive news. At first, only governments knew. But secrets never stay hidden forever. Whispers began spreading. Something had happened near Mars. Something impossible. Inside the command center, Leo looked at Arjun. Do you think this will change everything? He asked. Arjun replied, it already has. A young officer spoke nervously. Sir, if they come again, will we be ready again? Arjun looked at him. His answer was calm. Yes. But next time, he added, we may not get warning. The room became quiet again. Everyone understood what that meant. This battle had been won easily compared to what could come later. Far away, in deep space beyond the solar system, unknown signals still moved. Too faint to detect clearly. Too far to understand. But not gone. Not gone at all. Back near Mars, the battlefield was still empty. But human defense systems did not shut down. They remained active. Watching, waiting, learning, because Earth had changed. It was no longer just a planet. It was now a defended world. A world that had seen the darkness of space and responded without mercy. And somewhere in that silence between stars, a new truth was forming. The galaxy was not empty. And Earth had just made its first announcement to it. We are here, and we are not easy to erase. The solar system was quiet again. Mars rotated slowly, untouched and calm. The debris of the alien fleet had spread out and drifted farther into space. What remained of the battle was only memory, recorded in human systems. But inside Earth's command center, no one felt peace. General Arjun stood alone near the main screen. The room behind him was busy, but he was focused on one thing: deep space monitoring. Commander Leo walked in quietly. You still don't trust the silence, Leo said. Arjun replied without turning. Silence is never safe. Leo looked at the display. All scans are clear, he said. No new contacts. No signals. Nothing moving toward us. Arjun nodded slowly. That is what worries me. In another part of the command center, officers worked at full speed. One of them spoke. Sir, we have completed full analysis of the destroyed fleet. Their technology is far below our Phase 3 weapons. Another officer added, but their navigation system shows something important. They were not exploring randomly. Leo turned. What does that mean? The officer hesitated. They had a destination list. The room went silent. Arjun finally turned around. A destination list? He asked. Yes, sir, the officer replied. Multiple targets marked across different star systems. Earth was only one of them. A heavy silence fell over the room. Leo spoke slowly. So Earth was not the only target. Arjun nodded.
No.
We were one of many. That changed everything. The battle near Mars was no longer just defense. It was interception. At Outpost Echo, Liam reviewed the recovered data. He zoomed into the alien fleet's internal records. What he saw made him pause. Multiple invasion routes, he whispered. Not just Earth. He leaned back. This was a coordinated expansion plan. Back on Earth, Arjun gave an order. Expand deep space scanning range. Double the sensor network. Yes, sir. Officers replied quickly. Leo asked, You think more fleets are coming? Arjun answered carefully. I think this was only the first wave. The words hit the room hard. First wave. Not final. Not total. Just the beginning. Far beyond the solar system, unknown space remained dark. Human sensors reached further than ever before. And slowly something appeared. At first it was weak. A faint signal. Then another. And another. An officer shouted. Sir, new readings detected beyond Pluto boundary. The room instantly became alert again. Leo stepped closer. How many? The officer checked quickly. Unknown formation, but larger than the last fleet. Silence returned. But now it was different. Heavier. Stronger. Arjun closed his eyes for a moment. Then he said, Track them. Yes, sir. The screen slowly began to form shapes. Not one fleet. Multiple. Moving separately. Coordinated. Leo spoke quietly. So it begins again. Arjun nodded. But this time, we are not surprised. Back in space, far beyond Mars, the new signals moved closer. Slowly. Carefully. Like something testing the system. Watching the response. At Outpost Echo, Liam watched the readings change. His expression tightened. They are probing us, he said. Not attacking. Not rushing. Testing. Learning. On Earth, the command center shifted instantly into full alert mode. Systems that had just powered down were activated again. Weapons rearmed. Defense grids expanded. Leo looked at Arjun. They learned from the last fleet, he said. Arjun replied. So did we. A technician spoke. Sir, the new signals are avoiding direct paths. They are spreading out. Leo frowned. Trying to find weak points? Arjun nodded. Yes. Another officer added, This is not a single fleet anymore. It looks like separate groups working together. Leo said, They are adapting. Arjun responded, So are we. In space, the second wave continued its silent approach. No loud engines. No visible attack. Only movement. Careful movement. Inside Earth's command center, tension returned fully. But now it was different from before. The first battle had taught them something. The enemy could be destroyed, but not underestimated. Arjun spoke clearly. Prepare full planetary defense readiness. Leo nodded. All systems. All systems. He paused, then added one more line. And this time, we do not wait for them to reach Mars. The room understood. The rules had changed. The galaxy had noticed Earth. And now, it was coming back to see what kind of defense had destroyed its first fleet. The second wave had been confirmed. Multiple unknown formations were now moving through deep space. Not rushing like the first fleet. This time, they were careful. Silent. Watching. Earth had seen them first. But this time, Earth was not waiting. Inside the underground command center, the atmosphere had completely changed. No confusion. No surprise. Only focus. General Arjun stood in front of the main display. The screen showed multiple red signals far beyond Pluto. Commander Leo stood beside him.
They're spreading out, Leo said.
They are testing different routes. Arjun nodded.
Yes.
They are learning. An officer spoke from the side. Sir, all defense systems are at full readiness. Mars line is active. Asteroid belt platforms are online again. Another added, deep space drones are already moving into position. Leo looked at Arjun. We are fully prepared, he said. Arjun replied, good, because this time, they will not reach Mars at all. Far in space, the alien formations continued their slow advance. They were not like the first fleet. The first wave had been proud.
Fast.
Overconfident. This one was different. It moved like a shadow splitting into many shadows. Careful. Observing. Waiting for mistakes. Inside one of the alien command vessels, the leaders studied Earth system. The destroyed fleet had left behind data before its end. And that data had changed everything. Unknown defense capability confirmed, one officer said. Another replied, First fleet destroyed before reaching inner system. The commander stayed silent for a moment. Then he said, so the reports were true. They were no longer calling Earth weak. Now they were calling it unpredictable, dangerous. Back on Earth, Leo reviewed incoming scans. They are not attacking yet, he said. They are circling the outer system. Arjun answered, they are trying to find gaps. Leo nodded. And if they find none? Arjun's reply was simple. Then they will create chaos until one appears. The command center moved into full planetary defense mode. Every hidden system reactivated. Satellites shifted positions. Mars platforms came online faster than before. Asteroid belt weapons locked into silent aim. Earth itself became a shielded world. A young officer looked at the data nervously. Sir, if they attack from multiple sides, can we still hold them all? Leo turned to him. That is why we built layers, he said. Not one defense. Many. Arjun added calmly, and we already learned their style. At Outpost Echo, Liam watched the movement of the new formations. They are not entering directly, he said. They are surrounding us from different angles. He zoomed out.
It was clear now.
Earth was being encircled. Slowly.
Carefully.
He sent the report immediately. Second wave confirmed. Multi-directional approach. Possible encirclement strategy. Back on Earth, Leo read the report. They're trying to surround the solar system, he said. Arjun nodded.
Yes.
But they do not understand something. Leo asked, what? Arjun looked at the screen. That we can see everything they do. He gave the order. Activate full detection net. No blind spots. Yes, sir. Across space, human sensors expanded. Invisible nets stretched further into the darkness. Every movement of the alien formations was now tracked. Every change recorded. Every attempt observed. And then, the alien formations made their first move. Multiple groups began shifting inward at the same time. Not attacking.
Testing.
Probing. Looking for weakness in the system around Mars. Sir, an officer shouted. They are increasing speed on 3 vectors. Leo stepped closer. They are coordinating. Arjun replied, yes. But coordination is not enough. He turned slightly. Prepare counter-response grid. The order was immediate. In space, human systems reacted. Defense platforms adjusted positions again. Weapon arrays rotated. Drone groups shifted direction instantly. The trap was ready once more. Leo looked at Arjun. They are not afraid anymore, he said. Arjun answered, no. Now they are cautious. Leo frowned. Cautious enemies are more dangerous. Arjun nodded. That is why we ended early. At that moment, the alien formations tried something new. They split further. Smaller groups moved in different directions, trying to confuse the tracking system. But Earth was already prepared. The system adapted instantly. Each group was tracked separately. No confusion. No blind spots. Leo spoke quietly. They are adapting fast. Arjun replied, So are we. The tension in the command center grew again. But this time, it was controlled tension. Not fear. Not panic. Preparation. Far beyond Mars, the alien groups paused for a moment. They had expected reaction delays. They had expected confusion. But Earth responded instantly. Always. Inside the flagship of the second wave, the commander finally spoke. This planet is not like the others. A long silence followed. Then he added, "It learns." Back on Earth, Arjun stood firm. He looked at the glowing red markers on the screen. "They are coming closer," Leo said. Arjun nodded, but not closer to victory. He gave the final instruction. "Hold all positions." The room responded. "Yes, sir." Outside, in the vast darkness of space, two forces faced each other again. One confident in numbers. One confident in preparation. But this time, Earth was not waiting for impact. It was ready to meet it halfway. And somewhere deep in the stars, the galaxy began to understand something it had never expected. Earth was not just a planet to invade. It was a system built to survive anything. The second wave had been confirmed. Multiple unknown formations were now moving through deep space. Not rushing like the first fleet. This time, they were careful.
Silent.
Watching. Earth had seen them first. But this time, Earth was not waiting. Inside the underground command center, the atmosphere had completely changed. No confusion. No surprise. Only focus. General Arjun stood in front of the main display. The screen showed multiple red signals far beyond Pluto. Commander Leo stood beside him.
"They're spreading out," Leo said.
"They are testing different routes." Arjun nodded.
"Yes."
"They are learning." An officer spoke from the side. "Sir, all defense systems are at full readiness. Mars line is active. Asteroid belt platforms are online again." Another added, "Deep space drones are already moving into position." Leo looked at Arjun. "We are fully prepared," he said. Arjun replied, "Good. Because this time, they will not reach Mars at all." Far in space, the alien formations continued their slow advance. They were not like the first fleet. The first wave had been proud.
Fast.
Overconfident. This one was different. It moved like a shadow splitting into many shadows. Careful. Observing. Waiting for mistakes. Inside one of the alien command vessels, the leaders studied Earth system. The destroyed fleet had left behind data before its end. And that data had changed everything. "Unknown defense capability confirmed," one officer said. Another replied, "First fleet destroyed before reaching inner system." The commander stayed silent for a moment. Then he said, "So the reports were true." They were no longer calling Earth weak. Now they were calling it unpredictable. Dangerous. Back on Earth, Leo reviewed incoming scans. "They are not attacking yet," he said. "They are circling the outer system." Arjun answered, "They are trying to find gaps." Leo nodded. "And if they find none?" Arjun's reply was simple. "Then they will create chaos until one appears." The command center moved into full planetary defense mode. Every hidden system reactivated. Satellites shifted positions. Mars platforms came online faster than before. Asteroid belt weapons locked into silent aim. Earth itself became a shielded world. A young officer looked at the data nervously. "Sir, if they attack from multiple sides, can we still hold them all?" Leo turned to him. "That is why we built layers," he said. "Not one defense. Many." Arjun added calmly, "And we already learned their style." At Outpost Echo, Liam watched the movement of the new formations. "They are not entering directly," he said. "They are surrounding us from different angles." He zoomed out.
It was clear now.
Earth was being encircled. Slowly.
Carefully.
He sent the report immediately. Second wave confirmed. Multi-directional approach. Possible encirclement strategy. Back on Earth, Leo read the report. "They're trying to surround the solar system," he said. Arjun nodded.
"Yes."
"But they do not understand something." Leo asked, "What?" Arjun looked at the screen. "That we can see everything they do." He gave the order. "Activate full detection net. No blind spots." "Yes, sir." Across space, human sensors expanded. Invisible nets stretched further into the darkness. Every movement of the alien formations was now tracked. Every change recorded. Every attempt observed. And then, the alien formations made their first move. Multiple groups began shifting inward at the same time. Not attacking.
Testing.
Probing. Looking for weakness in the system around Mars. "Sir," an officer shouted. "They are increasing speed on 3 vectors." Leo stepped closer. "They are coordinating." Arjun replied, "Yes. But coordination is not enough." He turned slightly. "Prepare counter-response grid." The order was immediate. In space, human systems reacted. Defense platforms adjusted positions again. Weapon arrays rotated. Drone groups shifted direction instantly. The trap was ready once more. Leo looked at Arjun. "They are not afraid anymore," he said. Arjun answered, "No. Now they are cautious." Leo frowned. "Cautious enemies are more dangerous." Arjun nodded. "That is why we ended early." At that moment, the alien formations tried something new. They split further. Smaller groups moved in different directions, trying to confuse the tracking system. But Earth was already prepared. The system adapted instantly. Each group was tracked separately. No confusion. No blind spots. Leo spoke quietly. "They are adapting fast." Arjun replied, "So are we." The tension in the command center grew again. But this time, it was controlled tension. Not fear. Not panic. Preparation. Far beyond Mars, the alien groups paused for a moment. They had expected reaction delays. They had expected confusion. But Earth responded instantly. Always. Inside the flagship of the second wave, the commander finally spoke. "This planet is not like the others." A long silence followed. Then he added, "It learns." Back on Earth, Arjun stood firm. He looked at the glowing red markers on the screen. "They are coming closer," Leo said. Arjun nodded, but not closer to victory. He gave the final instruction. "Hold all positions." The room responded, "Yes, sir." Outside, in the vast darkness of space, 2 forces faced each other again. One confident in numbers. One confident in preparation. But this time, Earth was not waiting for impact. It was ready to meet it halfway. And somewhere deep in the stars, the galaxy began to understand something it had never expected. Earth was not just a planet to invade. It was a system built to survive anything.